Those of you that know me from social media will know that my dog Angus is far more popular than I am there, and his popularity has now spread to this show, for I am forced now to speak these words. This episode is sponsored by one of Angus's biggest fans, Kelly Stark. Thanks, Kelly. Hello and welcome back to Film Pro Productivity and Success, the podcast that aims to help film professionals, and don't worry, all creative people really, don't worry about the film professionals bit, to live a more focused, effective and happy life. My name is Carter Ferguson and this is episode 104, Making Your Not-To-Do List. Harvey Mackay famously said that time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. But once you've lost it, you can never get it back. And today I am talking not about to-do lists, which I discussed in episode 99 in some detail I might add, but about a very special list that is perhaps even more important. Your not to-do list. I first heard about this through I think it was Tim Ferriss, but it's another idea that comes, I think, and it's very, very difficult to trace these ideas. I think it comes from Warren Buffett. And in an earlier show, Focus on Three Things, I touched upon that, but what he was talking about when he said, he was talking about prioritising your goals and said that you should choose 25, but focus on only 5 of them, and under no circumstances whatsoever do any work at all on the other 20. By knowing what you want to avoid, you see, you can focus your energy instead on the things that you want to do to maximise your productivity. But as I say, Tim Ferriss mentioned it first, and when I did a quick search on Google on this, he was the first one to come up, as it happens. He's a big name in the productivity world. And he's got a list of 9 things that are on his list, and they are as follows. Number 1 is don't answer calls from unrecognised numbers. And I should say here, this is his personal not to-do list. So it's based on his life and what he does. And we'll get on to other stuff in a minute. But number 1, don't answer calls from unrecognised numbers. And that is definitely something I avoid as well. Number 2, don't email first thing in the morning or last thing at night. I have occasionally sent some emails out in the morning, but I do definitely avoid last minute emails at night. You might as well sleep on it and do it properly the next day. And sometimes if it's last thing at night, you might misread it and you might write totally the wrong thing. You might get yourself into deep trouble. Same goes for texts, probably, I should say as well. And number 3 on his list is don't agree to meetings or calls with no clear agenda or end time. That's a really, really key one. I would give fair warning to anyone who is working with government. They love their meetings. And someone who is on a full-time salary working for the government will have endless meetings because it gets them out of the office and they have a wonderful time, and that's all fine for them where they're getting paid. But if you're a freelancer and you're doing it all for an agreed fee, every meeting that comes up, unless it's got a clear agenda and a clear end time, you should be questioning whether it has to happen at all and keeping those down. And I kind of deliberately rambled there because his next one on the list is don't let people ramble. And I've gotten to the point where I get this. I do ramble myself, but you're still listening, so what can I say? There's an actor I spoke to just a few nights ago, and lordy, Lord, he went on and on and on, and I don't think he ever reached a point. I do at least try to reach a point in the show. That's all I'll say. But that was number 4 on Tim Ferriss's not-to-do list. Number 5 was don't check email constantly. Batch them and check them at set times only. That's a little habit I'd like to get into. I'd like to get into that with social media as well, because it's a constant distraction to you and it takes you out of that sort of deep work state of mind. So number 5, don't check email constantly. Batch and check at set times only is his. Number 6, don't over communicate with low profit, high maintenance customers. Don't over communicate with low profit, high maintenance customers. This is the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle in action. I identified that 80% of my bother came from 20% of my customers. or clients or whatever you would call them, employers perhaps, and I cut them out, actually cut them out altogether, and I ended up making more money and doing less work. So I totally get him on that one. Number 7, don't work more to fix overwhelm dash prioritise is what he says. If you're feeling overwhelmed, cut to the chase, prioritise the stuff that matters and ignore the rest. And number 8, don't carry a cell phone or Crackberry 24/7. Crackberry? Blackberry? That might mean Blackberry. That might just be a spelling. I don't know. Maybe Crackberry's a thing. But Blackberry, just don't carry a cell phone is the point. 24/7. I do switch my phone. I don't switch my phone off at night. What I do is it's usually on silent, but I'll put it through in another room when I go to my bed. I find that very helpful. And his final one in his list here, number 9, don't expect work to fill a void that non-work relationships and activities should. Okay, so don't expect work to fill a void that non-work relationships and activities should. So he's playing there on the work-life balance. And that's his list, and that's based on his life. But as creatives, our lists could be much more expansive than this. And what we're really trying to do with this is optimize our time. And a not-to-do list is something that will help us to do that. So I've got a few questions here that I noted down that might help you to come up with answers for this list that I want you to create. We'll get on to that in a minute. And the first question is, what do you want to do less of? Do you want less meetings or some other thing? It could just be sitting in front of the computer in the office. I've been, the last few days, I've been going out with a laptop and actually doing a session of work throughout the day somewhere else, anywhere else. That's something I was trying to do just to break up my day. But is there someone specific you want to work with less? That might be another thing. Don't work with such and such. I mean, don't work with, and there's a few people in Scotland I won't work with. There's a whole load of first ADs I will not work with. My girlfriend's got several people, clients that she's had in the past for corporate events that she will not work with. And I think that's the case for all of us. But, you know, you could put it on your not-to-do list is do not work with such and such a person. One thing I've got on the wall is do not work for free. That's, I have to say, I still do quite a lot of work for free, but that's something I need to work on a little bit more. And also, I turn down jobs that are, or work with people that I feel don't go with the flow of my values. This sounds like a little bit hippy-dippy, but there's some people out there who've got values which contrast with mine, and I don't enjoy working with them, so I just avoid those particular gigs. The next question I'd put down was, are there any aspects of your job that you want to stop doing? My mate Matt runs a production company in Glasgow, and he's been able to start bringing people in to do other tasks that he used to do himself, but now that he's moved up a little bit in the world and he knows what he's going for, he's been able to bring people in to deal with certain jobs he just doesn't like doing, or he doesn't. His time is better spent doing higher end things that bring in more money than doing more kind of, I'm not going to say menial, but tasks that are skilled roles, but which are a waste of his time, which could be best spent elsewhere. Hopefully I'll be able to fix that in the edit. I did try to make that work. And this next one's something I'm working on right now. What do you want to stop eating, or alternatively drinking? And I'm trying to stop eating sweets right now. I had stopped for a long, long time when I was on the fruit. And over the last kind of maybe month, I've started eating sweets again. And it's something I'd really put effort into avoiding and had beaten. But it just happened. I just happened to get sweets one day, and then I got them the next day, and then I was into a habit of it. So what I've written down on my not-to-do list is don't eat sweets, but I have allowed myself to have a cake per day, so I can still have something sweet. But that's down there. It might be a drinking thing, though. You might want to leave alcohol out, for example. Is there a household task that you hate doing? Maybe if it was something like mowing the grass, you could get a gardener in to do something. If you hate doing the dishes, get yourself a dishwasher. You know, there's ways out of that one. Or are there any bad habits at all you want to stop? Obviously, I'm talking about smoking or something like that. You might want to say, don't do this on your not-to-do list. Or do you have personal commitments that are unhealthy, that at one point in your life they meant something to you but don't matter anymore? Maybe you need to stop doing them. It might just be constantly helping the same person out who never seems to move forward. That sounds very cold of me to say that, but if someone's keeping you back, this is related to last week's episode, if you heard that one. which was, do you have a hole in your bucket? Where I was asking you, what is the one thing that keeps you back? This is a list of a whole lot of other stuff that might keep you back. Also, you might want to think, what was the unhappiest moment that's happened within, say, the last 12 months, but that was within your control to have avoided? Maybe you want to, go back through your diary, your calendar, and remind yourself of stuff that didn't go as planned and you really want to avoid doing again in future. Or maybe, what are you spending too much money on that you know you shouldn't? And I'm not talking about, hobbies or things you love. I'm talking about potentially, again, I think it came up in the last episode, is buying the next shiny new bit of kit. You really have to stop yourself doing that, and you can do that perhaps by using a not-to-do list. Do not buy the next camera. Do not buy the next lens. You're just maybe using that as a crutch to move through life, and it's costing you money. But yeah, as I say, look at your calendar and remind yourself of what you liked doing and what you didn't. Identify patterns from that and note down really anything that you would like to stop doing. But that's just a few questions to get you thinking. You might already have a few things in mind. And of course, the aim here is, don't just think it, ink it. Write this down. Write it down in a document. Write it down in a book. And don't just close the book and put it away. Print it out. Stick up several copies of it around the house. Put one in your mirror, put one in your office, put one in the bathroom, wherever you need it. And use those reminders to stop yourself doing the things on this list. And don't be afraid to refine the list over time. Remember that time and energy are finite resources, but we rarely budget our time the same way that we budget our finances. So to achieve your highest priority tasks, it's absolutely vital, important to be strategic about how you spend your time, and creating this not-to-do list will help you to prioritize the stuff that really, really matters. Any items at all that aren't important or urgent, or that slow you down or steal away your energy and resources, should go on this not-to-do list. And you might even consider taking a leaf out of Warren Buffett's book and calling it "And under no circumstances whatsoever do any of this list." That's enough for just now, but on next week's show, I'll be revisiting something I've mentioned in the past, another short episode, but just a reminder of it. I'll be talking about Parkinson's Law. But I'll end now with the words of Michelangelo, who said there is no greater harm than that of time wasted. Now take control of your own destiny, keep on shooting, and join me next time on Film Pro Productivity and Success. Executive producer on this season is David Richard Thompson, and the music that you're listening to right now is Adventures by Ihumitsu. You can follow the show on Twitter at FilmProProdPod or on Facebook at FilmPro Productivity. And there's a full transcript of this episode and every episode on the official website, only on the official website, I should say, filmproproductivity.com. Please continue to support the show, folks, by subscribing, spreading the word, and leaving an awesome review.